So let's take a look at Google Forms and some of the buttons around those Google Forms. I'm just going to jump into this untitled form. In the upper left, most important thing, if you hit this button here, it's going to go to forms.google.com. That can confuse people because sometimes they'll hit that, they'll jump back and they don't know where they went. That's the Forms home button. This is the title, what you want your form you're currently working on. This is to move it to a folder. Now, when you click this, since it's already in a folder, it's telling you I'm in the Forms folder. You could back up and go to My Drive. You could be like, okay, put it in the post-COVID or put it in the Google Classroom, or you can make a new folder if you so choose. Starring, if you star something, that basically means that in your Google Drive, it's going to be in a quick starred folder, which kind of condenses your list of Google Drive stuff. Very helpful if you're trying to find something. I'm going to skip over this section and jump over to the right. Add-ons. If you have add-ons, you can turn them on here. We have some. This one we'll talk about in this YouTube training, but we'll come back to that. You've got your theme options, so you can choose a header if you so choose. So if you want jelly beans as your header and you want your theme color to be blue, or you want to add your own color, you can do that. You can darken it, lighten it, go with more of a gray, change your font style. This button is a preview button. That's how your students will see it. We'll talk about that before we send it. But the most important thing I want to talk about is settings. In settings, you can do a couple things, but most of you are going to want to check your settings to make sure you're doing this correctly. So in terms of general, if you want email addresses collected, you have to check that box. If it's unchecked, it would be anonymous. 2, I prefer to send response receipts so that students get a copy of their responses, and I just turn it on for always. 3, requiring users to sign in. If you only want Fostoria City Schools users to use this form, check it. If you have parents or outside people that are going to be doing it, uncheck it. If you want to limit to 1 response, check it. Now notice, respondents will be required to sign into Google. So if you want 1 response, you're going to have people sign in with their Google account. If you just want this to be a public document, you can just uncheck that. If you want them to edit after they submit or see a summary chart, you can do that. Presentation. If you want to show a progress bar, you can do that. If you want to shuffle your question order, you can do that. If you want a confirmation message, meaning that once they get it done, they get a little message from you, that's fine. And lastly, quizzes. If this is something you're going to try and grade, or you want there to be an answer key, you're going to want to make it a quiz. You can turn on locked browser mode if you want, which would mean they wouldn't be able to get out of the browser. We have that feature. And then in terms of releasing grades, you can do that immediately after each submission or later upon manual review. I tend to go later on manual review just so I can go through any extended responses. These 3, you're basically going to be sending this information to them. So if you want them to see what questions they missed but not see the correct answer, or if you want them to not see the point value, you can do that. Once you press save, that's the settings for this particular form. If I jump all the way to the right, though, I can get these 3 dots. If you go all the way to the bottom of the 3 dots, you can set the normal default preferences. So for me, I have it always set to collect email addresses. And just for the sake of argument, I'm going to show you that you can set all your default quiz point values at 1. Also in the 3 dots, we've got some other buttons, but we're going to talk about those in the next video when we talk about some of these buttons up here.